Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Sreetips here, and what I have in this bag is a couple of pieces of gold from a previous video. This is from the waste container video. I'll put a link to that in the description of this video. And this piece here is a little bead of pure gold that we recovered during the when we were messing around trying to make some chloride acid crystals. And I'm going to add this to this. Looks like we've got 8.9 grams of pure gold. And what I'll do is add it into this beaker here. And we're going to take this out now. Repurify this gold. We're going to start this off by adding some hydrochloric acid to the beaker that's got the gold in it. I'm going to go with about 100 milliliters, I guess. Turning the heat on here. And what we'll do then is add a couple drops of sulfuric acid to take care of any lead that may be present in the gold. Now what I'll do is I'll put this on time lapse, start adding small doses of nitric acid to our beaker to form aqua regia, and we're going to dissolve the gold and do a repurification. It's taken several hours here to get this gold to go into solution. I'm going to call it here. Still a little bit left down in the bottom, but we're going to pull this down off the heat and let this cool off. I've allowed this to cool completely. You can see down in the bottom of the beaker down there that we've got a little piece of gold that has not dissolved. Fight me. I'm trying to get a position so you can see it right there. And so we'll get that out of there. I'm not going to pursue trying to get that to go in solution. This is taking too much time. So what we'll do now is I've got a couple of ice cubes here. And add these to the gold to cool it off a little further. There's a little chunk of pure gold right there that didn't dissolve. And I got a piece of green material in there. I don't know what that is. It looks like part of a circuit board or something. But there it is right next to our chunk of gold. Put the gold bearing solution now. You can see it's cold from the ice cubes, but it's crystal clear. We're going to add it to this beaker now for precipitation. get a little warm water here. This is ferrous sulfate that I prepared in a previous video, and you can see the green crystals have come out of solution. It's ferrous sulfate crystals in a ferrous sulfate liquid. So what we're going to do is use a little bit of warm distilled water, add it to this, and try to dissolve a little bit of this ferrous sulfate, and we'll use this to precipitate out our pure gold. According to the book, ferrous sulfate is ideal when other metals are suspected of being present with the gold because it will drop all the gold and nothing but the gold. Got our ferrous sulfate crystals pretty much dissolved in here. I think we've got enough to do the precipitation. So now let's move over here to our gold solution in our beaker. And I'm going to pour the ferrous sulfate right on in. Here we go. Precipitation went fairly well, although I forgot to get the stannous test before I did the precipitation. But now we're going to do one after the fact. Stick a piece of filter paper down in here, get a little bit of the solution on the filter paper, put some stannous on here, just to make sure that we've got all the gold precipitated. If you look at that paper, looks like we still got just a little bit of gold in there. I did another stannous test off camera. There's the results right there. And that does not look like gold to me. And this is from a waste container. So what we may have going on in here, still left in solution, is some platinum group metals from the waste container. Here's another stannous test. Let's see what this thing does. Sometimes it takes a while to react when there's very little metal in the solution. Get some of this stannous off of here. Okay, I don't see, maybe just a very faint color going on in that last stannous test. This one is looking orange, like it's got some platinum group metals in there. The nice thing about ferrous sulfate precipitation is, according to C.M. Hoke, ferrous sulfate will precipitate only the gold and leave any other metals that are in solution in the solution. So if there's any platinum group metals in there, which is very possible that there could have been, those metals will go down here in the solution that I'm pouring off into my waste container. Now we're going to rinse this real good and get all the liquid rinsed off of here. We should have some very high purity gold in here. Now what I'll do is rinse the gold over and over with some hot distilled water. And I've learned, after refining many ounces of gold, that this is a critical evolution here to get all the junk rinsed off this gold to get the maximum purity here. Rinsing is critical. Rinse this off and then pour the rinses off into our waste container. And we'll do this over and over until we get everything rinsed off of this gold. I'm going to add a little bit of hydrochloric acid to the gold in our beaker here. If you notice, after all that water rinsing, we still got a little color going on in there. A little tint of yellow. It's probably the ferrous sulfate. That's why hydrochloric acid is used to rinse that stuff off of our gold. I'm going to set this back up here and add some heat and give this a boil for a few minutes in hydrochloric acid. I got distracted on the phone and gold was popping because I had the flame up too high. Got all over the inside of the beaker. So now what we'll do is let this cool off for a few minutes. I've allowed this to cool off. I don't want to squirt cold acid on this cover here because I have had those break before. So we're just going to rinse the particles of gold that rejected back down into the beaker. You can see here that the acid has turned a yellow color, and the hydrochloric acid boils will get off the excess ferrous sulfate that might be in there. It will also tend to dissolve any little bits of silver chloride that may be present in with the gold, and it will rinse off any platinum group metals that are still in with the gold. I'm going to dump this off now into our waste container. Give it a quick rinse with some cold hydrochloric acid. Here's our last stannous chloride test. I don't see any indication at all of any metals in solution. I'm going to add a little bit more hydrochloric acid to the gold now. And take and set this up on the heat. Give it another boil in hydrochloric acid. Pour this hydrochloric boil off now. That's nice and clean looking now. Nice clear colorless solution. Let's pour this off into our waste container over here. And I'm going to rinse it with a little bit of cold hydrochloric acid here. With a little bit of cold distilled water a couple times. All right, we'll set this down here. see, we're just about neutral with our pH, which means that we've got most of that hydrochloric acid rinsed off of there now. Transfer this gold now down into this dish. Now what we'll do is some glass rods here to keep our the dish that's got our gold in it, making direct contact with the bottom of the dish. Got some tap water I'm going to add here. Take our gold powder here. It's been repurified. I'm going to try to flatten it out a little bit maybe. I'm going to add this into our container that's got a water bath, and we're going to dry this off slowly with some low heat. Gold is dried off completely now. Notice the color of it, it's beautiful. Turn the heat off, just let this cool down. While I'm waiting for the gold to cool off, I'm going to use some borax to glaze this brand new melt dish. What I'll do is I'll start off by heating the melt dish to drive off any excess moisture that might be in there. Now what I'll do is start adding small pinches of borax to just lightly glaze the inside of the melt dish. This is how a properly glazed melt dish should look. And with applying the borax, less is more, less is better. I just use tiny pinches until I just got a nice glossy coating on the inside of the melt dish. Here's our beautiful pure gold powder. It looks beautiful. It's nice brown, light tan, caramel color. So I'm going to take this over now, put it in our freshly glazed crucible, and melt this up a little ingot. Here we go. Here's our little bar of repurified gold. Looks pretty good. Got sreetips stamped on it, somewhat. The S in the front of sreetips. Didn't quite make it onto the bar. Now let's see what we got for a weight on this thing. 8.6 grams of pure gold. Here's our little piece that didn't dissolve. Let's see what this brings it to. 0.1 grams for that little piece. And our bar is 8.6. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and offer this for sale on my eBay site. I'll put links to the videos for the two pieces that we started with, and I'll put a link to my eBay site for this bar, and we'll go ahead and list it on there and sell it. So this will conclude the video, and I'd like to thank everyone for watching.